Good Thursday afternoon. Today is January 15th, 2026. My name is Casey Halpern, and as always, I'm thrilled to be joined by my friend, my colleague, my co-host, Ryan Borman. Ryan, how the hell are we?
Good, Casey. How are you?
Oh, just absolutely dandy. All good. Busy week so far, but
Yeah, absolutely.
excited to break down some NFL football. We got the PGA Tour kicking off the 2026 season today. Some breaking news out of the head coaching carousel. Maybe we'll have some Kyle Tucker news coming up soon as well. But yeah, can't complain. I can, but who would listen? It was tough sledding for some of my picks this past weekend. But we'll touch on that in a bit. But how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I think it was a little bit of tough sledding for some of my picks this weekend too. I went 0 for 3 on Sunday, I believe. Did not just got crushed on that slate in general. Had all the wrong sides of everything seemingly. But I was happy to see the Texans beat the Steelers on Monday Night Football. So obviously that led to some pretty monumental coaching changes in Pittsburgh. But aside from that, I'm excited for this weekend. We have almost every single game besides the Monday Night Football and Sunday Night Football game was awesome to watch. So I'm really excited for some more football this coming weekend.
Yeah, and by all accounts, we should have some great games, like some divisional matchups, a lot of close spreads. So should be a great weekend of football. Capped off with the college football championship on Monday night, which should be also a good game, even though the spread has moved quite a bit on that one. But before we dive into kind of the divisional round, any thoughts on the Giants hiring of John Harbaugh?
I It's interesting. Like, I mean, I think it's a smart move for the Giants. Giants, I think, are similar to the Jets, where I think they do need like a culture rebuild and they need to get back to their winning ways. Do I think that like Harbaugh is going to bring them a Super Bowl or be like some mastermind? No, I think he was kind of on the decline with the Ravens, but just from a culture standpoint and getting the franchise back on the right track, I think it's a great hire for the Giants, and I think they're definitely going to be trending in the right direction. If he could find a way to maximize Jackson Dart, they could make some noise potentially in the next couple of years. I don't want to say a year or two, but who knows? So I think that it was definitely a good hire for them, just given the options that were out there. Probably almost like the safest hire as well, in my opinion, too. They didn't really like they swung big to get an experienced guy, but they didn't swing big in like a risky, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator out there who hasn't really proven himself. They went with the experienced guy who can kind of command that locker room.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Look, there has never been a head coach in the NFL to win a Super Bowl with two organizations. So if he does become the first, that's pretty monumental, historical. Potentially, he absolutely can. John Harbaugh is an incredible coach. No sugarcoating that. We'll see what happens with his coordinator hires. But yeah, the Giants, for the better part of the last decade, have literally been almost as bad as the Jets, just with much better PR. That is the honest truth. So kudos to them for finally realizing that part. No one wants to be the Jets. Good for the Giants fans. Good for the organization. They finally have some stability at the head coach position since they let go of Tom Coughlin unceremoniously almost over a decade ago. John Harbaugh is going to provide instant credibility, instant stability to that organization, a foundation for that young nucleus they have led by Jackson Dart, who by all accounts looks like a franchise quarterback as long as he could stay on the football field. So good for the organization, good for the fans. They've been yearning for it for a decade plus. Maybe the New York Jets should maybe take some notes here, but we'll save that for a different day. But yeah, good for the Giants. John Harbaugh is a great hire, a great CEO. We'll see who the coordinators are. But I actually was looking if any of the football playoff odds were available for next season, because I think they'll probably be a trendy pick now. But look, they'll probably have some luck reverting to the mean for them next year. They lost a ton of close games this year. They blew a bunch of games. They've got some nice talent. So if John Harbaugh can bring in some good coordinators that can maximize some of that talent on offense. They got some talent on defense, especially at that front seven. Their line, especially on the defensive line, the linebackers probably all need to be replaced. The secondary stinks as well. But we'll see what happens in the draft and free agency. But great hire for the New York Football Giants. I mean, they now have a stabilizer at head coach, and we know what John Harbaugh brings to the table. He was the head coach for the Baltimore Ravens for 18 seasons, led them to a Super Bowl, made the playoffs, I think, 12 out of the 18 seasons. So you know what you're getting with him. He at least sets a floor. We'll see what the ceiling is for them, but good for the Giants. It's a great day to be a Giants fan. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not like super bullish on them to make the playoffs next year, but I mean, 3 years from that, then absolutely, I think that's on the table if they go the right route. I mean, Scadaboo and Neighbors are also hurt. And I think Neighbors came out and said he's not going to get back onto the field until he feels like 100%. So, who it should be by, next year, but who by the beginning of the season next year, but who knows with how he's feeling. And then, like you said, the linebackers in the secondary do still stink. So they do have a lot of room to go, but they do have the pieces in place if they can plug a bunch of the other holes. So I would say, just getting back to their winning ways next year, like you said, where he sets a floor and then we'll see what the ceiling is after that.
Yep. Look, they definitely have a lot of holes to address. They still have the draft and free agency to do that through, but at the very least, they have stability at the head coach position. They have someone that's going to come in and establish a culture, which has been sorely needed for the past decade in that organization. They have a proven winner, a guy that players love seemingly, coordinators that will probably flock to come call plays on the offense and defense for him. And look, immediately, he is now the best coach in the NFC East, which is crazy to say. And I don't think that's hyperbole at all.
Yeah.
He's better than Brian Schottenheimer. He's better than Dan Quinn. He's better than Nick Sirianni. Instantly has become the best head coach in the NFC East. So
I guess we'll see on Sirianni.
The Giants.
The Sirianni won a Super Bowl very recently, so I don't know if I jumped that right there. And the Eagles have been as consistent as it comes as well in recent years. So I don't know if I would go that far.
The Eagles have the best infrastructure in the NFL. I think they're the best GM by far and away in the NFL. I think that if you polled coaches, players, fans, and you gave them equal weightings, I think there would be a unanimous decision that John Harbaugh is a much better coach than Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, I mean, they said they wanted him fired. Sirianni fired. They wanted Sirianni fired middle of last year, I think, at one point. And then they went ahead and won the Super Bowl. So I think they've had a bit of a coaching carousel too. It's like they have different OC every single year. He's been the head coach as well. So I mean, the Eagles have just been, in my mind, the Eagles have just been good, and their floor has been, their ceiling has been a Super Bowl, and their floor has been the best team in the NFC East. So I think that's hard for me to beat.
Look, I think Nick Sirianni is a good coach. I just think John Harbaugh is better. That's really. And let's also not forget that the Eagles have had two outstanding coordinators last year as well.
Absolutely.
So, but also Brian Daboll might be the Eagles offensive coordinator next year, which would be pretty funny. I think that would be a great hire for the Eagles.
Yeah.
So, I'm not discounting anything Nick Sirianni has done. I just personally think John Harbaugh is a better coach, and I personally think he is now the best coach in that division. But we spent too much time on the New York Giants, a team that is on the outside of the current playoffs looking in. I guess we will start with the Buffalo Bills traveling to the Denver Broncos Saturday afternoon at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. The Bills opened actually as 1.5-point favorites, but that line has now flipped to the Broncos -1. If that line flips again back to the Broncos as underdogs, it would be just the fourth time in the last 40 years that a team off a bye in the divisional round was not listed as a favorite. Those underdogs were a perfect 3-0 against the spread and straight up. So curious to see where this line ends up being on Saturday.
Yeah, that's actually interesting because I'm surprised that there's I'm surprised there's even like 3 instances already, but the line actually looks incredibly similar to what the Jaguars and Bills line looked like too. It flipped kind of back and forth. I think the Jags actually got some money late and they closed as like -120 favorites, but it was literally, I think it opened like Bills -1.5, switched to Jags -1.5. The money line, it was basically a pick 'em for a while. It flip flop over there, and I think we're kind of seeing this almost the exact same trend with this Bills Bronco game, with the total being 7 points lower than the Jags game was. But yeah, similar trends. It'll be interesting to see where it does end up, because I don't know. It really is going to be like a pick 'em, truthfully.
I mean, it is a crazy. Last week, I did back the Jaguars. They should have won that. Look, we've spoken ad nauseum about it. The Bills' rushing defense is absolutely abysmal. They have a ton of injuries. They actually just ruled out Maxwell Harrison and Jordan Poyer, so their secondary just weakens further. But if Liam Cohen and the Jaguars just continued to run the ball last week, I think they come out and win that game. They were able to run the ball at will, gaining 6.8 yards a pop. Like, if they just continued to run the ball, they win that game. They were controlling the line of scrimmage, control the clock. All you have to do is just run it down the Bills' throats. Just keep Josh Allen off the football field. Like, I know it sounds pretty simple. Obviously, it's a lot harder said than done, but like, the question here is, will Sean Payton commit to his run game? I think if he does have a heavy dose of RJ Harvey and some Bo Nix design runs, I think the Broncos will win this football game, control the line of scrimmage, control the clock, and just keep Josh Allen off the field. Because when it's all said and done, the only reason the Buffalo Bills won last week is, one, the Jags did not run the ball more than they should have. And Josh Allen turned into Superman. Like, you could expect that performance again, but as long as the Broncos can just keep him off the field, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if I'm going to be betting this one. I'm curious to look at the under. I think it was like 48. Maybe I'm wrong.
Now. No, it's at like 40, 45 and a half. 46, I don't know. 45, right around.
What did it open at? Oh, it opened at 40.
You get a couple different places, 47 and a half, 40 or 45. It's between 45 and a half, 47 and a half, with a little bit of juice on the 47 side. I think you get -130 on 47 and a half. But yeah, I mean, that Jags game, dude, I mean, I was rooting for the Jags this playoffs, and it was really unfortunate because it seemed like they could get whatever they want on the ground. Like Tootin and Etienne were kind of rolling at points, and they did just abandon the run. Trevor did not look good throwing the football on Sunday, unfortunately, so that did not help their cause. He had a couple brutal throws, a brutal interception that hurt them early in the game. And then honestly, the play that kind of shifted the whole game was not shifted the whole game, but had they converted that 4th and 2, that Trevor sort of slipped on his dive, the Bills might have never even had a shot to win the game. That they were rolling in to go up, I think, 2 touchdowns at that point. And then when the Bills scored late, it would have been a, I think, 11-point game or something when they went into the end zone. So they would have needed another touchdown at that point. Instead, they had a lead. So that was a whole unfortunate, turn of events there. So, but it's tough. I will be on the Broncos this weekend. We've said that we don't think the Bills can win the Super Bowl this year, and I'm just a Bills hater, and I'm going to back the Broncos here just out of principle on my own sake. Do I know the Bills can easily win this game? I mean, it's going to be a pick 'em for a reason. So I wouldn't blame you for not for staying away from this one.
I mean, look, when it's all said and done, and it's 4:15 on Saturday afternoon, and I'm on my couch, maybe a cocktail or a beer in, I'll probably be joining you on the Denver Broncos if I had to guess. I'm not betting. I don't foresee myself betting the Bills as right now. Like, maybe it depends on the number. But if I were to probably pick a side, it would probably be the Denver Broncos. I think a lot needed to happen for the Jags to win last week, and they barely squeaked out, right? But if Liam Cohen just doesn't abandon the running game, I think it's the Jaguars Broncos this week. Well, or unless the Texans would have played the Broncos actually, which is probably way worse for the Broncos. But we'll
That
get to
total would have been like 35.
yeah, I mean, but we'll get to that game. But look, Sean Payton, just run the damn football. You could run down this Bills defense throats. Like, control the line of scrimmage, control the clock, keep Superman Josh Allen off the field, and you will come out victorious. That's it. Just run the
that
damn
like 11-yard that like 11-yard tush push was insane.
that should have been just called that immediately, but they got to fix that rule. But Sean Payton, if for whatever reason you're watching this, run the dang ball, establish it. That's it. And you'll come out victorious. Moving on, let's go to the night game. The Seattle Seahawks are hosting the San Francisco 49ers for the third. This is the third matchup this year. These two teams played in week 1, where the Niners won in Seattle, and obviously in week 18, where the Seahawks won in San Francisco, which clinched the number 1 seed and a bye. The Niners are 7.5-point dogs right now, coming off a big victory, which I called on last week's stream, as 6-point dogs in Philly. I did take it. I took the spread, not straight up.
Whatever.
But I had a feeling that would happen. But an interesting divisional matchup here in the divisional weekend. It's a big number to lay with Sam Darnold.
It's a lot. I mean, George Kittle just went down. They're down to really their bottom slew of guys, but they seem to just the 49ers are just a well-coached, well-oiled machine. It seems to not totally matter who they throw back in there. They seem to just get the job done and at the very least keep games close. So
yeah,
I like the 7.5 here as well. Like a touchdown. I think they find a way to keep it close. Like Seattle, I don't know. Seattle's defense is crazy. I just think it'll be a closer matchup. I don't know. I don't trust Sam Darnold to win a game by multiple scores in the playoffs here against one of the most consistent playoff teams we've had in the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's look. I'm personally not laying 7.5 points with Sam Darnold. I don't care how injured this 49ers defense is. I mean, look, at the end of the day, the 49ers, their entire roster is completely decimated. But as long as Kyle Shanahan is on the sidelines, I just trust them getting 7.5 points in a playoff game. I just do. He's that special of a coach, as a schemer, play caller. Like the offense, we'll see if Ricky Pearsall could go, but like obviously losing George Kittle is tremendous. Like that is just absolutely devastating to a team that had just lost seemingly almost all of their blue chip players, which is tough. But I'm with you. I'm going to be riding the Niners plus 7.5. I don't think they will win. I just don't think their defense will be able to come up with a stop when they need it most. And look, Sam Darnold is a completely different quarterback when he's under duress. Unfortunately for the 49ers, they cannot pressure anyone at this moment in time. Like
I was going to say,
they just don't have the guys. They're on their backups. Like their linebackers who played admirably last week. Kudos to them. Shout out Eric Hendricks, NFL vet. But look, they're just decimated all over the football field. I don't know how they'll be able to generate any sort of pressure this weekend. Jalen Hurts had all day to throw last week, which was just even crazier that they did manage to lose the game. But yeah, I'll take the Niners with the points. I don't think they'll win. I don't even know if it will be like that close of a game or if it's more of a backdoor cover. But look, these teams did play 2 weeks ago. It was a close game. I obviously the Seahawks won 13-3, but that game was tight all game. I believe the Niners, McCaffrey dropped a 4th and goal touchdown, right? Like, if I recall correctly, like that game was close. The Niners lost the turnover battle. They lost by 10 at home, but like that game was close for basically 3.5 quarters.
Yeah, I mean, also the 49ers, like, too, I think there's like a very tiny chance that Fred Warner plays on Saturday too. I don't think they technically ruled him out yet, but I think there's he's very doubtful, but he's not officially ruled out yet. And then also like Kittle was injured for 4 to 6 weeks in the regular season this year, and Tanj has filled in decently well. Obviously, he's nothing close to George Kittle. He's one of a kind, but like they've got some experience like with him playing games this season, so it's not like they're flying like completely blind, putting in new players right now in this offense. It's guys who have experience in the Shanahan offense and have played and played well when they filled in. So I'm like you said, it could be more of like a backdoor cover, but I'm gonna be on the side of 7.5 for the 49ers.
I'm with you. I'm trying to look up. Sorry, right? I should have done this before. What did the spread close at for that game 2 weeks ago? What was it like? Seahawks -2, something like that.
Truthfully, I don't remember. We could see if we can look it up from week 18.
I'm looking it up quickly. Yeah, Seahawks -2. Like, and 2 weeks later, they are now -7.5. I know they're home and it's the playoffs; they had to buy, but that's a big difference. All right, if you're factoring home field, sure, maybe 2 to 3 points. I don't even know about today's day and age in the NFL, but I don't know. I think there's some value in the Niners still. I trust Kyle Shanahan that much to cover that number, especially as long as he has most of his offensive weapons. The defense, Bob Saleh will have to pitch a perfect game. Kudos to him. Great defensive coordinator. Enough with the bullshit revisionist history about him as a head coach. He sucked. Let's stop there with the media love.
He's a great DC. He's just not a head coach for an organization. I think he's getting interviewed by like the Titans right now. Like I just don't think he's the guy that's going to turn around the Titans franchise.
Titans,
yeah.
Titans,
the Ravens, I think too.
Ravens, and the Steelers too, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, talk about him potentially going to. They talked about getting a guy to maximize Lamar Jackson's potential, and then they're going to bring in Bob Saleh to offensive mastermind to use Lamar Jackson. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Guess that maybe they get their defensive identity back, but who knows there? I don't know. I think he's just an awesome coordinator, and he should stay a coordinator.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Some other teams' problems. We've got our own. But yeah, shout out to Bob. Shout out to Bob. Great defense coordinator. I no animosity towards the man. Really nice guy, actually. But yeah, hopefully he and that defense can keep it within 7.5 on Saturday. Yeah. Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is a perfect 4-0 in Seattle, by the way, against the spread. So hopefully he stays undefeated against the spread. Kyle Shanahan
also winning in the playoffs.
What?
Brock Purdy keeps winning in the playoffs too. I think I saw the other day his only 2 losses were when that one game where he like broke his hand and couldn't throw, and then I think the other one was the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, and that's when he left his defense on the field with a lead in overtime.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. Those are the 2 losses.
yeah, Kyle Shanahan's 6-1 straight up in the wild card and divisional round. So he's also 7-0 against the spread in those rounds. So let's make that 8-0 against the spread this weekend, Kyle. How about that? So let's move to Sunday afternoon, right? Sunday afternoon, I think it's Sunday afternoon, 3:00, Patriots, Texans. This line is sitting at Pats -3. I was on the other hand of the Patriots last weekend, got my ass beat by them. I was on the Chargers +3, and it looks like I'll probably be on the Texans +3 again. I did. This is probably stupid. I did bet the Texans to win the Super Bowl at 9-1 odds. I did that last week before the Steelers game.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. I've seen some other stuff too, where like you need an elite defense or an elite offense to win a Super Bowl, and the Texans have one of the two. They have potentially a historic all-time defense right now, and if they can just get the offense rolling a little bit, it's very tough to score points on the Texans. So. Drake May and the Pats offense didn't look good against the Chargers defense this past week. So, I mean, now they have a whole different animal in the Texans. I'm also going to be on the Texans here. I'm again, I took the Chargers with the spread and on the money line. I'm going to be doing the same this week with the Texans. I'm going to have them on the spread and with the money line. So hopefully we don't get bit in the ass again here. But that's how I'm going to be playing this one.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm already on them to win the Super Bowl. I probably will also be on them to cover. I don't know about money line because then I'm just like kind of tripling down, but maybe I will. I was looking at some rollover numbers when I was doing the bets, just because like sometimes it's a lot. You'll get some better odds if you do trust a team to win it all, right? Or go on a run, like rollover and money lines. Shockingly, wasn't the case with the Texans this time around. When I was factoring future lines and all that, it came out to basically I did it on a very bearish case for the Texans, like odds. Bullish case. I guess they were I would giving them more kind of a juice in a sense. So it came out to like 8 plus 825. It would have been on $100 wager. So I just took the 9 to 1. But
yeah, you could look at FanDuel has the hypotheticals, and it looks like right now for
Tom
championship, it's like plus 104 at the Broncos at the current moment if they get there, and then minus 104 if they get to if the Bills win. So I mean, you're not looking at heavy juice either which way. They're both those games are going to be close to probably a 1.5 or 2.5 spread.
Yeah, they are absolutely nasty. They just started kicking the shit out of the Steelers in the fourth quarter. They dragged them out to the deep waters. But look, the Pats, they did the same to Justin Herbert last week. Obviously, the Chargers' offensive line is decimated, and they didn't have a good game plan at all on offense. But Drake May's that dude. He's incredible. This will be obviously the toughest task in his young career, but Drake May, a perfect 11-0 as a favorite of. Drake May is a perfect 11-0 as a favorite of a field goal or more. So hopefully the Texans can find the way to hand them his first L there. But also, it's a matchup of the number one pass offense versus the number one pass defense, which is interesting. It's the seventh time this century a matchup like that has happened. 3-3 record. So we'll see who breaks that tie here.
No, it's going to be it should be fun. It's going to be really a battle of like an awesome offense this season, awesome passing offense this season versus just like an awesome Texans defense. They just have corners that they just line them up and they just can cover guys. Like they don't give up catches, they don't give up touchdowns. It's kind of incredible the group that they've got out there. And freaking CJ Stroud turned it over 5 times, and the Texans, just no problem for the Texans defense. Still, they just kept them in the game and won them the game by scoring touchdowns on defense. So the offense doesn't even have to be out on the field or doing anything productive, and the Texans can still win. It's crazy.
It's crazy also because there was so much voodoo that was happening those first 3 quarters. It was shocking how the Steelers it was still 7-6 for that long until the fourth quarter. Because
of course too, the first quarter bet that I had that I mentioned in the last show, that's the first time in so long the Steelers won the first quarter but lost every other quarter, where usually their game script goes sort of the opposite way, where they're just not ready and then they pull away in the other quarters. But yeah, that was a brutal one. I wish the Texans got going a little bit earlier, but oh well, is what it is.
It's pretty crazy. I just watching that game, I was stunned that it was still 7-6 in the fourth quarter. I was like, are they really going to find the way to win this game? Obviously they didn't. But, I
thought the same thing.
I can't believe it. What? Say that again?
CJ Stroud just kept giving the ball back to the Steelers. It just was crazy.
It's really crazy. Before we move on to the last game of the weekend, I just have to say, shout out to Danielle Hunter. He is by far and away the most underrated player in the NFL that no one talks about. The guy is top 40 career sacks in NFL history, having another tremendous season. He is unbelievable and has made his presence felt all season long. And last weekend against the Steelers, he was just a dominant force. So I'm hoping Danielle Hunter and that defensive line are able to get after Drake May and that Patriots offense on Sunday. But shout out to him, man. He is incredible. He has 115 career sacks. He does not get enough love. He is a tremendous talent. And I have no idea why the Minnesota Vikings let him walk away, because he is a special, special dude and just doesn't get enough love, and probably the most underrated player in the NFL. So shout out to him.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a battle on Sunday too, because I'm pretty sure like Drake May this season has been one of the best quarterbacks under pressure all
Yes.
season. So we're facing the number one passing offense, number one passing defense, and one of the better pass rushes, and then one of the better quarterbacks under pressure. So it should be a really fun battle to see who comes out on top between the two of those.
Yeah, maybe look, there should be like a rule where if your coaches are still in shape and look like and are complete psychopaths like Mike Vrabel and D'Amico Ryans and look like they could probably still play, they should be able to suit up, because I would like to see those two guys out there. Like little a la Jackie Moon, player coaches, bring them back. I think the last game of the weekend is a game I'm just very intrigued by. Chicago Bears are somehow hosting another playoff game. I still cannot believe the Packers blew that game. 21-3 up, and the Bears scored 25 fourth quarter points to complete an epic comeback. Caleb Williams made some just breathtaking, amazing plays down the stretch. And yeah, here we are. The Chicago Luck Box Bears are in the divisional round hosting a home playoff game. They are getting 3.5 points at home against the Rams. You want to start?
No, it's every week with the Bears, man. The game's just never over. It's it's really crazy. They could look like the worst team in football for 3 quarters, and then somehow the fourth quarter they put everything together and they look like the best team in the NFL by far. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And again, like we've talked about all year, they get lucky, but they find a way to win when it comes down to it. They make big time plays in pretty much every big time situation that they've had all season. They make a play, and it's really crazy how like Caleb Williams will just miss wide open throws in the pocket all game long, and then fourth quarter comes, he rolls to his left or right, and he puts it on a line for a touchdown or something. It doesn't make any sense, but I think the Rams are definitely a little bit of a different animal. I of course will be on the Bears because I said I'm riding until the wheels fall off. I will absolutely be on the Bears this week, but the Rams have one of the best offenses in football, so it's going to be tough to slow them down. Maybe the cold will play a role. I think it's going to be like 0 degrees in Chicago that weekend, and Matt Stafford doesn't play well under 40-degree weather or whatever the stat is there. But it's going to be tough to slow down that Rams offense. Like they're crazy good. I think the Bears could definitely be in trouble this weekend. But I don't know. Maybe the luck continues. Maybe they still find a way. The Panthers almost did it, so why not the Bears?
Look, yeah, you're right, but I don't know. I'm not betting on this game. I've learned my lesson against the Chicago Bears. Like I'm done. I can't just watch the Luckbach Bears complete another 20+ point comeback against me. But going back to the weather piece, I think it's a bit overblown. That narrative. The forecast for Sunday night at Soldier Field, a real field, 3 degrees, 15-mile-per-hour winds. Obviously, the Rams, a dome team. Matthew Stafford's an older quarterback who has played his entire career in a dome. We'll see how he fares outside in the cold. But I think a lot of people are forgetting that literally just 12 months ago in the divisional round, the Rams almost took the eventual champion Eagles out in the freezing cold and snow. And Stafford in that game threw for 324 yards, had 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. So I think it's a bit overblown. And that Eagles defense was significantly better than this Bears defense, which is not great in my opinion, and probably just turnover merchants. So we'll see what happens. But I think that narrative's a bit overblown in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I don't think I think it's a little bit overblown. I think their offense is going to be rolling regardless if the cold or not. I think that game last year for the Eagles, that was a bit of a snow game too, where it got slippery for a while. I think there was also some drops in that game that went the Eagles' way as well. So I mean, I think honestly last year, if it didn't start snowing and get super like mucky, I think the Rams would have won that game. If I remember correctly. I think there's a couple plays down the stretch that fell the Eagles' way, and it was a lot to do with the weather at that point. So I think I agree. It's not as it's a little bit overblown, but I'm not gonna. I wasn't using it regardless because I was going to be on the Bears no matter what happened here because it's really just incredible what happens with them on a week to week basis. So, but the Rams have the Bears even again didn't look good, and the Rams have an awesome offense. So I it's going to be tough to slow them down. They're going to probably have to go toe to toe with them scoring. I don't foresee another 25-point fourth quarter comeback against Sean McVay and the Rams, but
Well,
gotta keep it close.
Look, I'm not betting it, but I did bet that cold snow game last year for the Rams. I was on them spread and money line. It was a tough loss, but they obviously covered. Just on the money line was tough. But I'll tell you what, I'm very concerned actually about the Rams defense because it has fallen off of a cliff since Thanksgiving. They've allowed 28 plus points per game since. They're second worst in the NFL in explosive pass rate allowed. And Ben Johnson and the Bears literally hunt for explosives. They rank 6th in the NFL in explosive play rate, top 10 in explosive pass play rate at 17%. Look, I know the Rams had some key injuries down the stretch, which are now back, but I'm very concerned about the defense. We have now a sample size of 7 games where they just have not looked anything like how they did the first 3 quarters of the NFL season. So that's where my concern with the Rams actually lies. It's on the defensive side of football and not on the offense in the cold. I'm a little skeptical of how they've looked of late.
Yeah, you're going to have just the Bears are going to have to just get going early, like you said, and get a couple big plays early on. I think they're the beginning of the games for the Bears. They've had a good game script to start the game, but haven't been able to punch it into the end zone. Like last week, I think they had like a 7-minute drive to start against the Packers that just resulted in a field goal on the other end. So I think against a team like the Rams, they're going to have to punch it in early. So they can stay toe to toe with that offense. But yeah, I think the Bears are going to score points against this defense. It's just going to be a matter of if the Rams score more on the Bears defense because again, like you said, their secondary did not look great. I forget it was like number 6, I think it was on the Bears. Donaldson, if I'm not mistaken, he was just didn't matter. Jordan Love was just targeting him for like half the game. It didn't matter which receiver was lined up in man coverage with him, but he was just getting torched for all of last week.
Yeah. By the way, I was just scrolling on Twitter in the background. Fred Warner is pushing the play this week, and he's not giving up hope. The 49ers don't have to activate him until Saturday afternoon. Schefter just said on Pat McAfee show. So we'll see if he plays.
He could play, man. That'd be a nice boost to that 49ers defense if he can come back.
I mean, man, but the Rams defense, it's pretty alarming what has happened since Thanksgiving. They're allowing 28 points per game, which is shocking to me. And just allowing explosive passes left and right. We'll see what happens. I wonder if Sean McVay is going to seek some revenge on his buddy Matt LaFleur on Ben Johnson.
That stuff is all overblown too. I think it's kind of fun that we have the Bears and the Packers hating each other again. I like it. I think it's a cool. They're both in the playoffs. They're both good. I think that rivalry is good for football, and I think it's fun that they don't like each other. I mean, to me, it's like what you want to beat your rival, and especially when they've had their number for years now and have been talked about like the better team in the North for a good. I don't know when they had Favre, Rodgers. It's been the Packers division for a while. So I think it's kind of cool that Ben Johnson's in there, hates the Bears and is not shy about it. I mean, hates the Packers, sorry, and is not shy about it. I think I don't know. I think that's good. That's good for the game, in my opinion. I don't know. I think it's a little bit overblown, people being upset about him acting that way.
I'm totally with you. I think rivalries are good for sports. Obviously, the Bears-Packers is one of the biggest in all of sports. So I am all for Ben Johnson and Matt LaFleur just hating each other's guts and Matt LaFleur getting like kind of emasculated by Ben Johnson in a sense. But all for that. Who cares? Like people were like up in arms about it, how Ben Johnson acted. Don't give me a break. Like, take your grandstand somewhere else. Go virtue signal elsewhere. But yeah, rivalries. They're good for sports. Any props or anything else you like this weekend?
I haven't looked a ton at the board, but one of the ones I think I was gonna end up taking is I was gonna take Josh Allen's rushing over. I don't know what it sits at. I think the 30 plus is at like minus 150 when I looked before, and I like that. I think he's between like 34 and a half and 36 and a half. Again, like we said, I think that for them to win these games, Josh Allen has to kind of go Superman mode, and he definitely they definitely look to use him to run more in the playoffs. I think historically, like some of these quarterbacks who don't always run like a ton in the regular season to protect themselves really get moving in the playoffs. And Josh Allen's, he runs a lot in general, but he's one of those guys that I think he's going to have to do what it takes to try to win the game. And if that means, breaking off a couple scrambles and instead of throwing the ball down the field, they just lost. Not that he was a big player, big receiver in their receiver room, but Shavers just tore his ACL. So they already have a depleted wide receiver room. In general, Shakir's like their number one guy. Keon Coleman has amounted to basically nothing in his NFL career so far. I'm freaking Brandon Cooks caught one huge pass last week and then had a drop on another huge pass last week. You forget he's even in the NFL and he's catching passes for the Bills. So I definitely am going to look for Josh Allen to use his legs this weekend against the Broncos defense as well, especially because Broncos coverage defense is so good. So, I mean, that's one I'm going to be looking at and going to be on if I could get a number that I like.
I haven't really perused props, but I'm just quickly looking down the aisle here. Cortland Sutton, anytime touchdown actually intrigues me, plus 210. That's not horrible. Would have to probably dive in a bit more. Speaking of Brandon Cooks, he's 5-1 to score, who's now the wide receiver 2 on the Bills. But no more Tyrell Shavers, no more Gabe Davis for the Buffalo Bills. Both had pretty brutal knee injuries, and both actually played 40+% of the snaps before they had to leave the game on Sunday. So, like, the Bills, they're staring down the barrel at like wide receiver 8, 9, and 10 now to play meaningful snaps, seemingly. We'll see what happens with them, but I would be stunned if they make the Super Bowl with this current iteration of their roster and the amount of injuries they have. And if they do make the Super Bowl, it's because of one person and one person only, and that's Josh Allen. He put on the Superman cape and has just went to absolute work. So if they do make the Super Bowl, that's the only reason why. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I took a long shot touchdown score earlier in the week too, and I took a Sky Moore for the 49ers to get in the end zone. I think he was like plus 3,800 or something like that. I got him at, which is super long shot. But he returns punts and kicks for them, and he plays. And now, what's it called? They handed the ball off on a reverse at one point too. So he's out there. Will he get into the end zone? Who knows? But they're going to have to go into their bag of tricks a little bit without Kittle potentially to find the end zone here. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, especially against the stats Ducks defense. I think they're going to have to go to some of their backup options if and when they get down to the red zone.
Well, he got a great number, I'll tell you that, because he's now down to 25-1.
Oh, well, good for me.
So you got.
I think I might have paired it with something else to get it up there, like some other low thing, but it was at least 29-1 when I was originally getting it.
So you got some CLV you could take to the bank. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm just looking. I had Jawan Jennings to score last week for big, and unfortunately he dropped the touchdown. It hit him right in the hands. It might have been Quinyon Mitchell made a great play, so I don't know if it would qualify as a drop, but hit him in the hands, should have caught it. It was tough sledding for me last weekend. The only good win was the Niners, obviously spread, but that amounted to nothing because I had significantly more on the Chargers on Sunday night, like an absolute buffoon. So that was tough.
It happens. Playoff football stuff, man. NFL football betting in general is tough, especially come playoff time. So
betting's tough. Look, that it's a long-term game. Can't get too low, can't get too high. We got another weekend ahead of some hopefully great games. Last weekend was awesome. Hopefully the divisional round can replicate 4 of those games from last week. We got golf starting. So I've got a few wagers in today for some FRL. If you'd like to tag along at home, I did grab some Cashmere Keith Mitchell, first round leader at 60-1. I think he literally just teed off. They're playing in Hawaii, so it's a 5-hour time difference. And I have some Mike Kim, first round leader, which was 80-1 as well. So have those. If anyone at home is intrigued to have a little Thursday afternoon action at their desk.
Who did you say? Yeah, first round leader. I'm happy we got these. We used to half our stream used to be talking about first round leaders. So I'm happy we're back into this season potentially of this.
I have Keith Mitchell, and I have Mike Kim. Twitter, everyone's favorite Twitter personality, Mike Kim. He is electric on X. Great follow.
Keith Mitchell's 500-1 right now, or 50-1. Hold on. What'd you get him at?
I got him at. Oh, hold on. I'm pulling up my. I built a tracker to actually track my bets this year, just so I could know exactly where I stand without using any external apps. I have him at 60-1. What is he now?
I think 50-1. What about Michael Kimball? He just teed off. He just went down.
Under. That's why, but it's still not terrible. Michael Kim, I have at 80-1.
Okay, he's 75-1 right now. I'll join you for fun here. Why not? Max wager of 22-20 and 13-30. So it ain't gonna kill me.
There you go. But yeah, hopefully we have an exciting weekend of football ahead. Do you have any lean for the college football championship on Monday night? Indiana versus Miami. Indiana opened as a 5.5-point favorite, got steamed up all the way to now 8.5 points, which is crazy.
It's not gonna have some places right now.
Is it? It's 9.5 now? I haven't looked.
Yeah, I mean, you can get I can see you can get Profit X -7.5 still at, and no VIG still -112, but like Fanatics and Hard Rock and a couple other places have 9.5 at -1, plus 9.5 at -115. So it's sitting right in that realm.
That's
crazy.
Wild. It opened at 5.5. Now it's at 9.5 at some shops.
It's crazy.
I like Miami. Is that crazy?
No, if I had to lean one way, that's what I would lean to. Once it gets over a touchdown, I think the 5.5 opener was definitely in the Indiana side. Like I'm kicking myself now that I wasn't on the opener, but if it gets to if it's over 8, 9.5, I think I could see it landing on 7 or 8 points. Indiana just has steamrolled teams though, so that is a little scary, but I don't know, man.
Just
over under is 46.5. It looks like some places.
That is crazy.
Miami's offense definitely cannot score with Indiana's offense, but if they can get a couple stops mixed in there, I mean, there's 9 over touchdowns. Crazy for a national championship game.
I also think just like Miami trenches are way better than what Oregon has, and anything that probably Indiana has gone against this year. Maybe since Iowa, that game, and that was a close game. Like Indiana has dominated most teams in the trenches. I don't think they'll be able to do that so easily with this Miami team, but we'll see. Have you seen the get-in ticket prices for that game?
Yeah, it has dropped. It was like $2,200 originally too. Like the parking lot's like a $700 parking pass. It's insane. I think it's down to $1,000 now. I saw a tweet yesterday that it's down to like just over $1,000 from like 2,200 like a week ago. But regardless, I mean, that's what happens. But it is insane that it's that expensive. My only experience, I will say, like when I was in college, when I went to the national championship for the Clemson game and we went to it down in Tampa, like my friends were paying $12 to $1,400 for a get-in price tickets at that point too. So I don't even know. it seems outrageous, but that was the going rate for national championship games at that point. I haven't looked at it in years, but it's insane.
You were at that game when Bo Scarborough got hurt and they won on the 4th and goal
Yeah.
to Renfro with no time left. Wow.
Yeah, it was in the end zone. Yeah. My friends paid
awesome.
Yeah, it was sick. My friends paid a lot of money, and I like Taco Bell gives away like 500 tickets to the game, and it was for free, and I got one of the free tickets. So I was like, it ended up being like, yeah, I was in the end zone where it happened. It was a free ticket. Kind of the stars all aligned for me, and ended up being a really cheap trip for me, and it was not a cheap trip for the rest of the crowd. So it was amazing. Yeah.
That has to be like one of the greatest sporting experiences ever to witness. That is just incredible.
Yeah, no, it was. It's definitely top one for me in my sporting career so far. Like nothing has really come close to it, especially like being a student and like going to that national championship after losing the year before. So I have no complaints. It was unbelievable.
I mean, that is awesome, and I'm incredibly jealous of that unforgettable, amazing experience. And Michael Kim just birdied, by the way.
Oh, good.
There you go. Anything else before we go?
No, I mean, I'm excited for the national championship Monday a little bit. I mean, now we have we'll see what Mendoza and Indiana can do against Miami. But I don't know. I'm sort of rooting for Miami, but also in the same token, like the turnaround from Cignetti in Indiana is one of the most impressive things in college football that we've probably ever seen. So to be able to just complete that would be just incredible, I think. So I don't really, I guess, care who wins on Monday in that regard. But it should be fun. Hopefully it's not a 10-point game because, we've had blowouts in the national championships in the past, and the 12-team playoff was supposed to potentially fix some of that. And now here we are again, with almost a double-digit spread in a national championship game. So who knows?
It's pretty crazy. It feels like the last few years it's just been blowout after blowout in the national title games. I'm trying to
some teams are just so much better. There's so much like talent discrepancy. Like some of these top teams are just so much better than the rest, and there's no, it's not like the NFL where any given Sunday some of these teams are just better.
Off the top of my head, was the last good game the game you were at, like the last title game?
No, I think it was more than that. It depends how you look at it. Like at least in my,
no, hold on. I'm quickly pulling up. Okay. Last game was not good. I mean, I think the score ended up being a lot closer than it was. Year before that, Michigan blew out Washington. Georgia blew out TCU the year before that. That Georgia-Bama game, and when Bryce Young threw that last minute pick six, I guess he was driving with the chance to potentially tie the game. But like, there hasn't been an unforgettable game since.
Nothing crazy. I mean, you go back to like the LSU Clemson game was probably the next closest one. I mean, it looks like kind of a blowout on the stat sheet, but it was like a field goal game going into the fourth quarter, and then they ended up pulling away at the end. I mean, the year before that, Clemson kind of just blew the doors off of what's it called? Blew the doors off of
game
Alabama.
Before that,
but then
the year before that, Tua came in the second half and won in overtime with his throw to Devontae Smith with Georgia. That was a great game. That was probably the last epic national title game. It's been quite a long time. It's been 8 years since we've had a good matchup in the championship. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, that's what I mean. These games just end up being blowouts. Like you just find that one team is significantly better than the other, and they can't make up for it.
I mean, Georgia just beating the shit out of TCU 65-7 in the national title game is absolutely just remarkable to look at how TCU even got there.
Yeah, it's funny. It's crazy that TCU won their semifinal game. It's not like, they just threw them in there.
I think Michigan turned it over 15 times or something.
Yeah. They still won it. Like it's like what more can you ask for? Like they played the game.
I'm not discounting them, but they were very lucky and turnover merchants. Just the whole season. And then just Georgia blew the doors off of them. All right. Well,
We've had different teams in it. We've had at least different teams in it the last 4 years, though. So that's 4 years in a row of completely different teams now. That'll be Indiana and Miami. It'll be Notre Dame, Ohio State, Washington, Michigan, TCU, Georgia. So I don't know. For years there, it was the Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, Georgia were kind of just staples in those games. So now it is good to see a little bit of a variety, especially just for like different fan bases, and it's not just the same old teams in there. But blowouts are never fun regardless.
Nope. So hopefully we have a great weekend of football. Hopefully there's 5 great games, and I hope everyone wins some bets. I hope we all have a great weekend. Everyone be happy, healthy, safe, and hopefully profitable. And we'll do this again next week ahead of conference championship weekend.
Yeah, a couple more weeks of football. Sad.
Carpe diem.
Yeah.
All right. Chat next week, everyone.
All right. See you guys.